Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Ichi refused to accept the sign he requested. Paulina and Lai exacted revenge on Melinda, who was feeling vindictive, and Eric moved into Sloan's studio apartment. Let's now delve a little more deeply into what transpired. Despite herself, Ava eventually came to the conclusion that they had nothing to lose by visiting Edmund P. Crumb's house and asking him about Susan. Harris, Steve Burton, agreed. Even though he had been coerced out of bed at an absurd hour, Edmund was friendly enough to go make them some tea. What a good Englishman. The only aspect about him that both Ava and Harris disliked was the way he frequently used the word deranged to describe the person who had originally driven Susan over the edge of the cliff. Ava and Harris told Edmund with straight faces that they now think Susan is still alive and sending them psychic messages, which have brought them to his door. In the rear bedroom, Edmund shows that he has Susan bound to the floor after much huffing and puffing. Additionally, he tainted Ava and Harris's tea. Our brave two are quickly knocked unconscious and thrown onto the cot that was Susan's bed. The bound and imprisoned Elvis fan exclaimed, "My stars and garters," before asking Edmund what precisely he thought he was doing. Back in Salem, EJ complained to Nicole about letting Wendy, Victoria Grace, go after she dared to attempt to substantiate his hiring of a hitwoman to murder Ava. What a girl's temerity. Nicole nodded in agreement. She should be damned for discovering exactly what EJ did. Then EJ repeated Wendy's statement that Ava had asserted Susan was still alive. Nicole suggested that perhaps EJ should consider what Ava said after apparently remembering that they resided in Salem, but he declined. That she would remember, just as he was attempting to have her assassinated, was too coincidence. A surefire way to put off a decision. Furthermore, his mother would give him a sign if she was still alive. And no, it wasn't the subsequent power outage. Susan would have signaled with a large sign. It was much too subdued. Melinda was also in serious trouble since Paulina, Jackie Harry, who intended to fire her, was the cause. After all, the job of district attorney is not one that is elected. The Queen is not a muse that you serve at her pleasure. Melinda threw her a Hail Mary, or insisted that she could make an arrest that would garner attention. How prominent is it? Try Remington Hoffman's Lee freaking Shin. Unfortunately for Melinda, Lai had listened in on her and Paulina's talk using the microphone he had concealed in the stuffed animal he had given her the previous time they had played around on top of her desk at work. Their affair was finished as a result, and Melinda's chances of keeping her work were also over. Sloan unexpectedly discovered Eric moving in when she opened her door and saw a suitcase with him inside. She had originally proposed the concept, so she wasn't really offended by it. Rather, she was upset that he hadn't informed her in advance, and that their previous conversation had been so long ago. But now that he and his belongings were there, it's old oak. The talk shifted to their adoption plans after briefly discussing a prospective wedding location. Note that it will not be hosted at the Brady pub, where Eric and Nicole's wedding was placed. Sloan was upset to learn that Belle, Martha Madison, was unable to represent them owing to persistent interpersonal strife, but he later came up with the ideal replacement, down-and-out Melinda. Melinda tries to flatter the new mayor when Paulina pays a visit to her. Paulina cuts her off and reprimands her. Melinda argues that her work has been excellent, but Paulina states that she is dismissing her because "I don't like you." She was Sloan's go-between who made life difficult for her and Channel. Melinda promises to secure her a prominent conviction, something she will require before the election. Eric enters Sloan's flat while Sloan is taken aback. She hadn't anticipated a former priest to be so eager to lead a sinful life. He chuckles, telling her that living together is trivial after conducting an exorcism. And they're getting married soon. When will that occur, she queries. Ava and Harris visit Edmund Crumb after finding his address online. He politely answers the door while dressed in pajamas and a robe. They are sorry to have bothered him, but they needed to speak with him about Susan. Melinda assures Paulina at her office that Lai will be found guilty of attempting to murder Stefan. In order to elicit a confession, she has been attempting to lull him into a false sense of security. She and he are actually dining together tonight. Paulina warns that if she doesn't know what she's doing, she will be fired. Melinda makes a hasty call to Lai to extend an invitation to supper after Paulina departs. Eric approaches Sloan and inquires about her plans for the wedding. Because she doesn't want to smell like chowder, Sloan says she won't be getting married at the pub. Eric is okay with that since that is where he and Nicole were married. Sloan remarks, just another reason not to get married there. However, they shouldn't wait too long because married couples are preferred by adoption agencies. She inquires as to Belle's participation in their adoption. EJ tells Nicole at the Demurra estate that Wendy says Susan is still alive. Nicole wonders if it's feasible, but EJ doesn't think it's true. EJ feels confident that his mother would have informed him. Nicole responds that it's possible she is avoiding Ava so thoroughly that she is unable to access a phone. EJ assures her that Susan doesn't require a phone to get in touch with him. She would have given him a sign if she was still alive. The lights disappear. You were saying? A martini is waiting for Lai when he meets Melinda in the square. She takes his hand and tells him loud and clear how glad she is that they are seeing each other. Lai coolly takes his hand away and takes a sip. She may be heard stating, "I'm going to nail Li Shin to the wall," in a recording that he plays. At the flat, Eric explains that they need to find another lawyer because Belle is now going through a difficult moment, but he is eager to begin the procedure. Sloan questions whether he really wants this. Naturally it is. He doesn't have to give his child any of his DNA. Because it was her suggestion, he is aware that she shares his sentiments. Nicole assumes EJ just received his sign as she and EJ light candles in the dim house. EJ averts his gaze. In response, he claims that his mother would not notice the power outage. EJ predicts that while they continue to discuss it, the lights will come back on in a minute. He sees it as proof that he was right when they do. Harris and Ava enjoy tea together in Edmund's apartment. The British man admits he is aware Susan was pushed off a cliff. They clarify that she may actually still be alive. If that's the case, Edmund questions Susan's whereabouts during this entire period. They attempt to clarify their crime-related hint and inquire as to whether he has heard from Susan in any messages. When she is locked up in the back bedroom, Edmund questions why she would need to send him messages. Ava and Harris start to feel lightheaded. They are drinking poisoned tea, Edmund reveals. They suffocate. He takes a sip from his own cup and replies, "That takes care of that." Lai smugly admits in the square that he put a bug in the teddy bear he left behind for her after they had sex on her desk the previous week. Melinda cannot believe how foolish she was. Also, Lee claims, he's amazed he got away with it, but he knew she was after him from the start. Melinda cries out, "I can't believe you played me like this, hurt." They played each other, he responds. He hesitates a little before saying, "You don't care about me any more than I care about you." He assumes that she is just angry because she lost. She tries not to cry as he walks away. Melinda texts Sloan when she is alone to let him know she was just dumped. Paulina reclines. "Pack up your office," the mayor orders. "You're out." She sips Lee's beverage. Eric unpacks when Sloan departs to check on Melinda. He looks at a picture of himself and Nicole that he discovers. Marlena visits after hearing from Kate that Eric has relocated. He's sorry, but he got busy and forgot to tell her. She recognizes it, but she is taken aback by how serious he and Sloan are. They are, Eric assures her. When she sees Nicole's picture, she fiercely smiles. She says, "I really hope it works." "Me too." Melinda takes up the teddy bear as she sobs her way through packing up her office. She spits that he is a lassie lover in case Lai is listening, and she doesn't mean that in a good manner. As Sloan approaches, she takes out a gavel and smacks the bear. Everything that took place with Lai and Paulina is revealed by Melinda. Sloan understands that Melinda may now represent her in her adoption, so her dismissal benefits them both. EJ discovers at the mansion that the electricity was off after an automobile struck a utility pole. The sole indication, then, is that drivers in this area should always keep their eyes on the road. Nicole notes that this neighborhood is made up of the mansion and the expansive grounds that surround it. EJ dismisses the notion that the power company was having me on, saying that only Ava is lying in this situation. So that his mother can finally rest in peace, may she soon rot in hell for all of eternity. Edmund sets up a twin bed for Ava and Harris at his house. Susan arrives while brushing her teeth and has a chain around her ankle. Edward, what the hell are you doing, dude? Peacock is presently the only place where Days of Our Lives is broadcast. Subscribe to Peacock to ensure you never miss an episode. Please be aware that we might get a small commission from any purchases you make after clicking a link in this article. Thanks for watching if you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.